Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Bold and beautiful today. Sparks fly between a new couple as Ivy pushes Dylan out the door. Taylor is at the beach home at the start of the episode, talking to herself and reeling from Steffi's threat. Deacon continues to try to let Sheila off the hook at Illinois Giardino. In the CEO's office at Forrester, RJ is sketching clothes while telling Carter that he has a thing for his cousin Electra. When Dylan finally shows up in the showroom, Will and Electra are eager to hear her news. At that moment, scary Poppins Ivy enters and invites her to continue. Dylan is pushed out the door by Ivy. Dylan falsely claims that she has a job out of town and will be departing Los Angeles after the opening credits. She looks at Ms. Proper, Ivy, and says, "I was given an opportunity that I couldn't refuse." Additionally, Dylan declares that she has already moved out of Will's flat and is vamoosing right now. Electra requests information before Dylan leaves. Well, she adds that she hopes Electra understands how much she values her generosity and that Dylan will text them. Ivy starts to roll her eyes. The Australian informs Dylan outside the showroom that she will no longer reveal her dark secret to Electra. "Miss Dylan, goodbye." RJ displays a ton of doodles. Carter is impressed when he sees RJ's sketches in the CEO's office. Before allowing Ridge to start on his most recent project, the young guy says he wants to make certain that he wants to work there. The last time he was nepo-babied up the corporate ladder, he quit the job, and he still feels horrible about it. Deacon nears ending her relationship with Sheila. Tyler calls Sheila away to talk to the chef before Deacon can announce that he is leaving. At that moment, Deacon is called to Steffi's by Taylor. Taylor is relieved to learn that he hasn't spoken to Sheila yet when he gets there. Taylor goes on to say that Steffi threatened to leave her if she didn't leave Deacon. "I can't let her go," Taylor declares. "But I also can't let you go." While wondering how in the world they ended up here, the pair reaffirms their love. Deacon declares, "I want you with every cell in my body. I need you." Deacon is certain he can keep his soon-to-be ex away from his new sweetheart, and Taylor isn't concerned about Sheila, even though, well, she should be. However, how can they circumvent Steffi's demand? Subscribe to Soap's bold and beautiful newsletter, the text says. Receive daily summaries, exclusive interviews, spoilers, and breaking news alerts delivered right to your email. Sparks, https://cloud emailed at soaps.com/sign-up fly between Dylan and RJ. Electra tells Ivy how shocked she is by Dylan's announcement in the last moments of the episode. Electra remarks, "She was such a great friend," forgetting her time as the green-eyed monster. Ivy is adamant that Dylan's departure is for the best. Lord, when she becomes judgmental, she truly does sound like a Forrester. Speaking of Dylan, she practically bumps into RJ as she is ready to exit the building, spilling his drink in the process. "Hello, Sparks." They introduce themselves to one another. He even offers to assist since he can tell she's having problems. "All right, I adore these two." Deacon and Taylor's passion almost overcomes them. While Deacon is hanging out with Taylor back at Illinois Giardino, Sheila is wondering where he is. "What are we doing?" she asks herself. "What feels good?" he answers. He claims that if something were to happen to her, he wouldn't be able to live with himself, but he also claims that he couldn't survive without her. "You are the only person who has ever made me feel seen." Deacon acknowledges that he finds it difficult to be good. With her, however, the battle isn't as difficult. He even acknowledges his creepiness. A big yes to keeping in mind the past and letting a character develop. He learned to walk around in metaphorical armor as a result of his difficult history. He can remove it with her. He tells Taylor, "You only see the good in me," but Sheila didn't flinch when she saw the bad in me. The couple kisses to solidify their devotion and reaffirms their need for one another. Actually, a boatload of kisses. On Steffi and Finn's couch, they appear to be just a single kiss away from making love. As the episode begins, the camera sweeps across a tense, sun-drenched Los Angeles morning and lands squarely on Ivy, jaw clenched and eyes blazing, as she plants both hands on Dylan's shoulders and shoves her straight out the front door with a force fueled by weeks of simmering resentment, betrayal, and unspoken fear, the door slamming shut behind Dylan with a finality that echoes down the hallway and seems to rattle Ivy herself, because even as she stands there breathing hard, a flicker of doubt crosses her face, The kind that comes when you've crossed a line you can't uncross, and outside Dylan stumbles, stunned, humiliated, and furious, the morning air hitting her like a slap as she realizes she's been officially cast out, not just from the house but from Ivy's trust, from the fragile little world she thought she was building, and as Dylan straightens herself, smoothing her clothes and swallowing her pride. She locks eyes with Ivy through the glass for one long, charged second where neither woman blinks, a moment crackling with unfinished business, before Dylan turns and walks away, heels clicking sharply like a declaration of war, and inside Ivy leans back against the door, eyes closing as she exhales, because pushing Dylan out was supposed to bring relief, closure, power, but instead it leaves a hollow ache that Ivy doesn't want to examine too closely, especially not now, not when everything feels like it's on the verge of exploding, and the scene cuts to the Forrester offices where whispers are already spreading about the latest fallout, the name Dylan moving from desk to desk like a spark looking for dry kindling, and that spark finds exactly what it's looking for when Dylan, still raw from the confrontation, storms into an unexpected encounter that changes the emotional temperature of the entire episode, because standing there, completely unprepared yet unmistakably intrigued, is a familiar face who's been hovering at the edges of her life, someone who has seen the cracks in her armor and, instead of judging, seems drawn to them, and the way their eyes meet is different, slower, heavier, charged with possibility, as if the universe itself just leaned in a little closer, curious to see what would happen next, and Dylan, who has been operating purely on survival instinct for so long, feels something shift in her chest, a spark she didn't plan for and definitely didn't expect, while across town Ivy is replaying the shove over and over in her mind, convincing herself it was necessary, that Dylan had to go, that lines had been crossed and boundaries obliterated, yet the more she tells herself this, the more unsettled she becomes, especially when she overhears a casual comment that Dylan has been seen talking, laughing, even, with someone new, someone Ivy never imagined would be part of this equation, and suddenly the narrative Ivy thought she controlled starts slipping through her fingers, morphing into something unpredictable and dangerous, because Ivy has always prided herself on being the one who dictates terms, who sees 10 steps ahead, but now she's stuck in the emotional aftermath of a single impulsive act, watching the consequences ripple outward in ways she can't stop, and back with Dylan, that initial charged meeting turns into a conversation that's awkward at first, filled with half-sentences and carefully chosen words, until it isn't. Until the tension softens into something warmer, something electric, and the air between them hums with unspoken understanding, because this new twosome, unexpected, controversial, and undeniably compelling, forms not out of convenience but out of shared wounds and mutual recognition. Two people who have been underestimated, sidelined, or outright dismissed finding solace in the fact that the other really sees them, and when a hand brushes against another, entirely accidental yet impossibly significant, both of them freeze, eyes locking again, and in that heartbeat-long pause the future seems to split into 1,000 different paths, each more dangerous and tempting than the last, while elsewhere Ivy's defensiveness hardens into something sharper, more possessive, as she realizes that shoving Dylan out the door didn't end the story, it just rewrote it, and now she's no longer the protagonist but the antagonist in someone else's rising romance, a realization that sends her spiraling into a mix of jealousy and regret, because part of her misses Dylan's presence more than she ever expected, misses the way Dylan challenged her, mirrored her, understood her, and that complicated cocktail of emotions drives Ivy to confront others, to lash out, to double down on the decision she made even as cracks form beneath her certainty, and the episode weaves these threads together with surgical precision, cutting back and forth between Ivy's unraveling control and Dylan's cautious but undeniable awakening, as the new twosome grows closer not through grand gestures but through quiet moments, shared laughter, and the kind of charged silences that speak volumes, and by the time the episode draws toward its final moments, the lines have been clearly redrawn. Dylan is no longer standing alone on the outside looking in, Ivy is no longer safely in control of the narrative, and the spark that ignited from one shove has turned into a slow-burn fire that threatens to consume everything in its path, leaving viewers breathless, conflicted, and desperate to see what happens next, because in true bold and the beautiful fashion, love doesn't arrive politely, it crashes in through the wreckage, daring everyone involved to survive the fallout. Following her departure announcement, Dylan and RJ share a moment, and Taylor and Deacon declare their love. Sheila sensed something was wrong when Steffi threatened to cut Taylor off from the family. Taylor states she doesn't want to lose Deacon or her family while pacing the Cliff House. Taylor's thoughts. Deacon expresses his gratitude to Sheila at Illinois Giardino. She believes he's thinking about more. Deacon shares his thoughts with Sheila. They need to talk, he says. She is interrupted by the busboy, who informs her that the chef must see her. Sheila Deacon talks about her thoughts. Taylor calls after she leaves, pleading for him to come over and talk to her before he speaks to Sheila. Sheila texts her husband after returning, perplexed to find him gone. Sheila texts. When Deacon gets to the Cliff House, he notices how distraught Taylor is. Something has changed, she explains. Deacon dashes over to Taylor. She told Steffi about her emotions for him, but she is concerned about the children. Steffi threatened to cut her off from the family and offered her an ultimatum. She can't let them go because she loves them. She continues, but I can't lose you either. Taylor gives the Deacon the ultimatum. He desires her happiness. She can't lose her family, but she also desires that. Deacon's entire being yearns for her. He wants to gaze into her eyes constantly. She sees him as he truly is. Deacon's emotions are still the same. Deacon tells her he's been a nasty man and has had a difficult life. He didn't even realize how heavy his armor was because he had been wearing it for so long. She has restored his sense of lightness and freedom. Taylor is told bad man by the Deacon. He makes her feel like the only person in the world. Taylor tells him. She requires him. They share a kiss. They must figure out how to make this work. They share more kisses. Deacon Taylor's kiss. Carter works in the design office while RJ draws. They talk about how exciting it is for him to be back in Los Angeles. RJ's drawing. Carter believes he's referring to the attractive women. Will is the luckiest person in the world, according to RJ. According to Carter, she is quite unique. Carter RJ talk Electra. Carter is struck by how incredible the man has become when he looks at his designs. He believes Ridge ought to see them. RJ doesn't want to raise his father's expectations. He wants to confirm that staying is the right decision. Carter understands. Carter RJ talked sign. Will and Electra are joined in the showroom by Dylan. They can't wait to learn about her fantastic news. Dylan and Electra meet in the showroom. She is prompted to make her news as Ivy enters. Ivy encourages Dylan to speak. She claims to have a job and is leaving Los Angeles. They are pleased for her. Dylan longs for her to remain. She must do this, even though they have been so kind to her. Dylan declares his departure. Electra will miss her and is pleased for her. Dylan is departing today after clearing up her belongings. Dylan will always be grateful for their generosity and thoughtfulness during the most trying period of her life. Thanks to Electra, Dylan. She informs Electra that she has no intention of upsetting or disappointing her. After giving each other a hug, Dylan leaves. Declaring that she must handle a distribution problem, Ivy follows Dylan outside to ensure she leaves. Ivy tells Dylan to go. Ivy goes back to Electra, who is still shocked that she bid Dylan farewell today. Ivy believes the time was right. She will be missed by Electra. She was a wonderful friend. Ivy believes that was a good thing. Ivy Electra talks about Dylan's departure. RJ spills over his shirt when Dylan runs into him in the hallway. She begins to apologize while massaging his chest. Dylan runs into RJ. After introducing themselves, he inquires about her well-being. Despite her traumatic day, she will be all right. He's hoping to run into her. RJ converses with Dylan. The secretary instructs RJ to contact her if he needs anything after she departs.